As you can see by the title of this video, I'm going to give you the best opportunity I see now to make an extra £1,000 a month as a young man, teenager, growing up in the inner cities. Who am I to talk? My name is Michael Akinfisoyemichael. I built quite a few businesses somewhat successfully. I've built them to multi-six figures, but we're still striving to surpass that 7 and even 8-figure mark, right? But I built these businesses in public. Scaling Edge is the one I'm building right now. OHB Academy, I built my online fitness coaching businesses, Billionaire Fitness, so on and so forth. So I know a little bit about building companies, and I'm always continuing to learn and grow my knowledge. But listen, right now, despite what you see on YouTube, young people in these inner cities are struggling to make ends meet. If you're not built for the corporate world and have a stable family that can help support you until you land that big postgraduate job, then it's tough times. You'll probably start banging out Amazon Flex or one of these delivery jobs where you're being paid peanuts, right? And you have to work super hard. Meanwhile, I personally believe and know that there are a ton of methods whereby you can make a lot more money with a lot less effort. I know this because I've coached people. I've coached a lot of online fitness coaches who have literally gone from zero, from no business online at all, to making thousands and sometimes tens of thousands a month through this whole new world that we're in. But ironically, I think a lot of videos that actually come up on your feed like this make it harder for you as young men to actually even believe this is true. And that's because the videos are either just the creator telling you about selling courses so that you can buy their course about selling courses and make them more rich. And then you've got some clickbait titles where they have a big promise in the caption and the thumbnail, but when you watch the video, they're basically just saying, slow down, mate. It's probably gonna take you at least 2-3 years, but don't worry, just slow down. And whilst I get that, that is actually good advice. You need money now, right? People need to make money now. So I think there's a balance of the two. And although I mentioned like coaching and online coaching and courses, this idea or this method I'm gonna tell you about in the video has actually got nothing to do with any type of online coaching or courses. So I don't know if I'm gonna do these videos all the time. I think that depends on your feedback. But what I am gonna do is when I do them, I'm gonna make sure they're valuable, they're practical, and they're no nonsense. So let's get into it. So to set the stage for you and of what kind of gave me this idea is that recently I've been looking a lot into watches. I've always liked jewelry, I think ever since I was a young person. And obviously as I've gotten older, I've started to understand more about more luxury pieces and watches like the Rolexes, the Audemars, Cartiers, and all sorts, right? Another day I happened to stumble upon a video of an American jeweler. And what the title of the video, you probably find it, is he was making $1,000. I don't know whether it was in a minute or an hour or so on and so forth, right? But it's like, come and watch me quickly flip something and make $1,000 from a watch. And literally, this was the simplest video I've ever seen. He was in his own shop. A guy had come asking for a specific type of watch. He said they don't have it. He said he can go get it. Showed him the watch, got a picture. He literally went across the street, all right, and went to one shop. They said they didn't have it. Went to another shop, didn't have it. Went to a shop eventually. They said they have something very similar. He showed the guy, came back. The guy actually let him take the watch to go and see if he could sell it, which is very common in the jewelry industry. He took it, the person said it, he made 1,000, he almost made 1,500, whatever, capiche, that's it. In a matter of probably less than an hour, $1,000 made there and then, right? From a watch that wasn't even his. Now this method is as old as time, right? I've done it, you may have even done it before yourself, and it's called being a middleman. And it's probably the most underrated and understated technique and method and business model that there is. We actually work with multiple companies actually who make tens, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds and sometimes millions just by being the middleman in transactions, right? So whether this is people lending money for their businesses or getting funding for a big property development, or they're just they're transacting, maybe there's just a payment processor. But these companies and people make large sums of money just by being that person in the middle. But here's the caveat, and here's where it isn't just some quick, easy money flip and scam. Nothing comes free, right? And anything that comes to you easily is also easily lost. So the real value and the real thing that allows you to shine and stand out and be successful as a middleman is you actually need a lot of product knowledge and expertise in that specific field, industry, or whatever you're doing. For example, you couldn't just start a lending or a finance company because you ain't got a clue about what it takes to garner a deal, put it together, facilitate it, make sure the lender's happy, make sure that the person lending is happy, right? You need that extensive product knowledge and expertise. And this expertise works in different ways within different scenarios. So sometimes you might be able to make the deal because you know more than the client, right? You understand more, you just got more expertise on the product. And sometimes you might know just as much as the client. This is very common, right? You may know just as much as the customer, but you can make the money because you know more people than the client, right? And that still counts as expertise and comes with expertise, right? You're able to know these people and mix and mingle with these people that the customer doesn't know because of your expertise. So what I'm going to do to make this a bit more practical and real is I'm going to give you a real world example that you can actually use and get to see it in a practical sense. So what you do is you pick something expensive to sell because you want to make a good enough commission and money on the deal, just like the jeweler did with selling the watch, right? So let's say you pick kitchens. So kitchens are something that people need to update, change, completely rip out and strip. As if they say they're moving into a home or they're developing a home. These are things that people need to fit in every single day. And you will get some people who just know what they're doing. Maybe they're builders anyway, or they're tradesmen anyway. They know exactly who they need to go to. But you will get some people who don't have a clue, right? They're not tradesmen or tradespeople by any degree. And they just know that they need a kitchen and they have an idea of the kind of design they might want. So what you do is you've picked your industry and your service now and your product. So you start researching, you start to develop that product knowledge that I explained. You start learning, maybe you're watching YouTube videos, you're doing research using ChatGPT. This part of the game has become so much easier than it was 1, 3, 5, 10 years ago. Beforehand, there was once upon a time when you would have to pick up a book and learn everything, right? And then you'd have to pick up another book and then you start to have the expertise. Now you can literally compress that into, you can compress what would have been weeks and months worth of learning into days and maybe weeks, right? So you start learning, you start doing this research, and then you start to research and find suppliers. When it comes to the products, you can do that research of learning and understanding it, but at some point, then you need to get the real practical thing in, which is knowing the people who actually have this product live on hand. So you start researching the suppliers and finding out who's got the best bang for your buck. Because the average person who is looking for this kitchen or this product, they will just look and they might just see price. But because you've developed the expertise, who's got the right price, but they're not cutting corners, they're not giving you crappy materials, they're not have dodgy reviews, you can start to really get that type of knowledge and understanding. And then you start building relationships with suppliers, all right? You start building the relationships with the only best right suppliers for you. And that's when you learn something extremely valuable. And that is that commissions are very normal in business. They're in fact welcomed. And commission is obviously a payment, a monetary reward that you get from passing on business, from introducing business to somebody else, or somebody buys a product but they come through you, like these influencers that you might see selling fitness products or whatever, and they have a discount code and they're taking a commission of that sale. And the reason that commissions are so welcomed and so accepted in business is because of something called cost per acquisition. So most industries, business owners are very aware that there is a cost to acquire a client. And they're usually willing to pay anything from 1 to 20, even 30% of the sale value of that product, just as long as it doesn't start to affect or diminish their profits that they're going to get. For example, going back to those fitness models and influencers. So let's say that you're Jamie and you sell Peloton bikes or fitness bikes, basically, right? and your cost of the bike is, you sell the bike for £200. Some new fancy bike, it's got an iPad on it. You sell it for £200, but you're willing to pay that influencer £100 or £50, which is 25% of that £200 bike, because they're gonna bring in the customers, all right? If they bring in 10 customers, even if you pay them £25 out of every bike, you've made 1,750 from that influencer, right? And the reason that people are happy to pay people this is because typically you'd end up paying it in advertising anyway, or you'd pay a salesperson to call people, and then they would have to, the salesperson maybe cold calling, they have to get a percentage anyway. Or when you pay it, advertising can vary wildly. So you could be paying even more than that to acquire a client. So this is why they don't mind commissions. So let's say, for example, Bob and Co's kitchens sell a fully fitted out kitchen for £8,000 roughly. This is an example, right? I'm making up the numbers. But they will happily give you £1,000 for every sale that you get. Simple, right? Sounds good, right? Money sounds good too. Now the question is, how do you get the sale? Well, that's simple marketing lead generation 101. And as to not make this video too long, I'm gonna put a prompt on the screen right now that you can use. Copy and paste that directly into ChatGPT, and it will give you exactly what you need to do to start getting the clients, right? And this can work for any industry, any model, right? The very simplest level, on the basic level, you can just go door knocking in some way or form. It doesn't have to actually be knocking doors. It could be cold calling. It could be messaging people on Instagram. And many young people like yourselves, or that you may know, are very driven to do something like door knocking. And I see them do it all the time, sometimes for a lot less, all right? I see young people selling outside of Farringdon train station for free. They're doing it strictly on commission based. And I guarantee it's a lot less than £1,000 a sale. Then a lot of people young people all over the country may be getting paid around £1,000 or less a month, let alone £1,000 per sale. So why is this so good? Why is it such a great business model? Why do I like it? And why did it stand up to me? I've done it before. I've done it in different ways and formats, but when I watched the video and it clicked on me, I remembered it, and I just realized how great of a model it was, is because you store no product, right? I have a supplement brand on my own that I'm building, Body Light Soul, and I'm enjoying it. It's something I'm building on the side with Scale and Edge. And something that I've realized, because I always have to think about what the bottlenecks are, is that I have to store product. I literally, at this point in time, have to store product. So at some point in time, when I have 1,000, 10,000 boxes or whatever, it's gonna start to fill out my shed. I'm gonna have to put it somewhere else, right? So with this model, you store no product. You don't have to deal with the fulfillment. You don't have to be the one fitting the kitchen, breaking it apart. You don't have to do any of that, right? So again, fulfillment doesn't become a bottleneck for you, because that's fulfillment is the bottleneck for Bob and Co's kitchen and for so many companies, because they need more manpower to do more work, to take on more work, to make more money. And you make a big commission with very little hassle, which drives you to want to go and make more, right? Let's say you work on this and you're doing this for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then boom, you land a sale, £1,000 in your pocket from a kitchen. You don't have to go fulfill it. You don't have to do anything. This is gonna drive you to wanna do more, right? You're gonna wanna go out and sell more kitchens, because you're gonna think, well, if I could just do that 5 more times, I've made 5 grand. If I can do it 10 times, I've made 10 grand, right? You could even build your own brand around kitchens, irregardless of the fact that you're not doing any of the work. And some people don't understand that. And this is where we talk about abundance and scarcity. Some people don't even feel like they deserve to make that kind of money when they're not the ones doing the kitchen or make a lot more money. They don't believe that they deserve, or it is right for them to eventually be making more money than Bob and Co kitchen, because of the fact that they're not the ones fitting the kitchen. But that's the wrong mind state to have. You could easily be making more money than Bob and Co, because you could be helping Bob and Co, James and Sons, Ricky's Kitchens. You can be helping multiple people get kitchen sales and jobs, and now you're making money from all of them, right? Because why do you just want to get kitchen sales there? Bob and Co can only cover the Norwich region, and then Jameson can cover the Luton region, and you get the idea. So again, this has been going on since the beginning of time. And there's a model that a lot of people are promoting a lot in the industry and online that is basically just another format of this, and that's drop shipping. So look, in a world where a lot of people are selling you the idea of drop shipping, selling courses, drop shipping via Amazon, day trading. There's these very common concepts and business models that keep coming up, right? I don't have nothing against those models, and I will definitely never come out and say that they don't make money or they can't make you money. No, that's not what I'm saying. I probably never will. I definitely believe there's people making money from all of those different business models. I just believe that a lot of other business models, like the ones like the one I explained in this video, are becoming very overlooked because everybody is going to the flashy stuff that everyone's doing. People typically tend to have a sheep mentality, so they go where the herd is. But with that, I think a lot of big butter is being missed out with these less fancy, less in the spotlight business models like the one I've explained today. And a lot of money is being missed out, right? So listen, I've got nothing to sell you, all right? I've literally capiche, nothing to sell you. So if you found this video helpful in any way, then all you need to do, or all you can do for me, is subscribe. Simple as that, right? Drop a like as well. And if there's a question you have for me or a video you want me to make, then put it in the comments, all right? So that's it, man. Love and peace.